The Flying Trunk. Once there was a merchant so rich he could have paved a street with silver, but instead he chose to leave all his money to his idle son. After enjoying the high life, the son soon found that all his father's money had vanished. His friends disappeared too, but one sent him an old trunk with a note saying, "Pack up and be off." The merchant's son was amazed to discover that the trunk could fly. So he climbed in, closed the lid, and flew high into the sky, leaving his troubles behind. At last the trunk descended, and he found himself in a foreign land. Hiding the trunk in a forest, he walked into the town. "Who lives in that palace?" he asked a stranger, pointing up to the hill. "The king's daughter," came the reply. "It has been prophesied that a man will make her unhappy, so no one is allowed to visit, except the king and the queen." Hearing this, the merchant's son had an idea. That evening he flew up to the palace roof and into the princess's room. He was immediately struck by her beauty. "Do not be afraid," he told her gently. "I am a prophet descended from the sky." The lonely princess was excited to have company. She was entranced by the stranger's tale of mermaids in the dark blue seas and princesses on magical snow-clad mountains. She believed this prophet had been sent just for her and readily agreed to his proposal. "But first, you must come here on Saturday," she told him. "The king and queen will be pleased to hear I am to marry a prophet." And then she gave him some advice. "They are exceedingly fond of stories. My mother likes them to be moral, and my father likes them to be merry." "I shall bring a tale as my bridal present," he replied confidently. And before he flew away, the princess gave him a gift of a saber studded with gold. "I shall exchange this for more fine clothes," he thought as he waved his princess farewell. Saturday arrived, and the princess proudly introduced her prophet to the king and queen, who invited him to tell them a story. "There once was a bunch of matches," he began. "They lay on a mantelpiece between a tinderbox and an old iron saucepan. They often talked about their youth." The king and queen smiled with approval. The prophet continued his tale. "The matches were proud. They were once branches on a fir tree that towered above all other trees. They boasted how the trunk of the tree became a mainmast of a magnificent ship that sailed around the world, and they told how the birds would relate stories of far-off lands they had visited, which is why the matches felt they were above living in a kitchen." The queen, who loved a moral tale, applauded when she heard this. "But where's the merriment?" asked the king. "Soon," replied the prophet, continuing. "My story is very simple," said the iron saucepan. "I have been rubbed and scrubbed and boiled over and over again. We lead a quiet life here, but the newcomer, the turf basket, tells such terrible tales that the old glass jar fell down in shock and shattered into 1,000 pieces." The king laughed out loud. "When the jug told her story," continued the prophet, "the plates all clattered applause, and the fire tongs began to dance. The kettle was asked to sing, but she had a cold, so could only sing when she was boiling. Before anyone else could tell their tale, the maid came in to light the fire and struck one of the matches. How it blazed up! Now, thought the other matches, everyone can see we are of the highest rank as we bring a dazzling light." The king and queen applauded loudly. "You shall marry our daughter on Monday," the king declared. The night before the wedding, the whole city was illuminated, and cakes and buns and sugar plums were thrown to the people in the street. "I should play my part," thought the merchant's son, so he bought some fireworks and let them off one by one as he flew into the air in his trunk. The crowd jumped and roared with delight as rockets and fountains of light filled the sky in honor of their princess marrying a prophet. Later, the merchant's son set off into the city. "I saw the prophet," one of the crowd told him. "He had eyes like sparkling stars and a beard like foaming water." Happy with his evening's work and excited about his marriage the next day, the merchant's son returned to the forest. But disaster faced him. One spark from a firework had ignited the trunk, and it now lay in ashes. The merchant's son could never fly again and could never visit his bride. Every day the princess sat on the palace roof waiting for her prophet, and he traveled the world telling stories, but they were never as happy as the ones he told at the princess's palace. The end.